Most people look at business like this and they become a taker. And you know why? Because we get a bib placed under our chin when we're born and we come into this world. So that gets embedded in our subconscious mind. And we go through life thinking, oh, it's about me. And what can I get from people? And what I always say, if you really want to get in with folks, you have to consciously take the bib from your neck, put it over your arm like you are a server in the finest dining establishment, and approach people with, how can I help this person? You could achieve goals in your life. You could get through tough times. And so to me, it's a very simple formula. And this is the way I think people should always tell their story. It's before or struggle, turning point, and after or success.
Big money speaker, ninja tips on how to convert from the stage, how to make big sales, how to actually get paid to speak. These are some of the things that James Malinchak is a genius at.
We connect through our messes, not the successes. And you'll see some people that come out on stage and they go, hey, look how great I am, and I did this, and I did this, and I never failed. And you're sitting there going, I do nothing that makes me unhappy.
How you get paid to turn your knowledge into amazing success secrets for other people? Let's join James Malinchak. All right, James, your definition of success.
You know, for me, it's happiness. It's just waking up and being happy with your life and having freedom. You know, financial freedom to give you time freedom, to give you relationship freedom. You know, a lot of people miss the financial freedom part. Right? You know, I just want to go out there and serve the world. I'm like, well, that's cool until you can't pay a monthly mortgage.
Yeah.
Right? So for me, it's happiness, freedom, and peace of mind. Not having to worry about a bill forever, right? And just basically living my life like I do nothing that makes me unhappy. Like meaning nothing, right? Hey, come to this event. I don't want to go to that event, so I don't go.
Yeah.
Right. Or, hey, you should work with this person. I don't like that person. That person's a leech. That person takes from people. Right. I've seen them do that. I don't want to be around them.
Flip that back a little, though.
Sure.
It kind of always been that definition and that way. Young you, what was young James's definition of success, and then how did it progress?
Yeah, it was achievement. And
Achievement
of anything. It could have been in sports. It could have been in business. It could have been in school. It's just like grinding, going for more. And then the turning point for me was when my sister was diagnosed with a brain tumor unexpectedly, and rocked my world. Just I was like punched in the belly. And 3.5 months later, unfortunately, Vicky passed away. And I was like, damn, you know, you can always make more money. You can grow, but you can lose all your clients and come back and be better. You go bankrupt. But you can't get more time, man. You know, and that taught me a valuable lesson that my time is probably the most important thing. I know it's the most, next to breathing and faith, it's the most important thing I got, because you can't get more of it. I mean, think about this, Brad. Every second that you choose to waste on things that don't bring you happiness for whatever you like to do is a second you don't get back the rest of your life. You don't get a do-over.
Yeah.
So that changed me from like striving for achievement, right, as success, to striving for freedom and peace of mind and what makes me happy, right? Prior to that, I was a yes person. Like, you know, you hear that thing, say yes and figure it out, right? And
there was a movie on that, wasn't there?
Yeah. And I quickly realized, when I started looking back at patterns, well, that's why I was so unhappy.
Yeah.
Because I had no time.
Yeah.
I had no freedom. You know, when I was on the Secret Millionaire TV show, I said yes to everything. I'm sleeping 3 hours a night. I was the most miserable person, you know, gearing up for the show, and I couldn't figure it out. And I left. I just dropped everything. I had a 3-book deal I had all these things booked, and I couldn't figure it out. So I left for 3 days, went to Malibu. Nobody knew where I was going. Was at the Malibu Beach Inn, just trying to like reflect, why the hell am I so unhappy? I'm about to appear on ABC television.
Yeah.
Why am I so, and I started tracing, looking for patterns, and I'm like, I went back to the old James, the old success, say yes to everything, figure it out. And I was the most miserable person. Flew back here to Vegas, pulled people together, started cutting it, cut the book deal. I didn't want to write 3 books, you know, in 6 months with a publisher, which they control you. I have no time. They're controlling me. I just started cutting things, and I got back to what made me happy, success, you know, and peace of mind and freedom and just enjoying my life again. Therefore, then The Secret Millionaire was fun.
Yeah. You know, so then if you think about it, then is there a formula for success in your mind, or some ingredients that create success?
I can't speak for anyone other than what works for me, right?
Yeah.
And that's all I try to share with people that I'm blessed to help. And so my formula, my definition is if I wake up in the morning and I look in the mirror and the person looking back at me is happy, meaning time, peace, right, freedom, then that's a good formula for me. If that guy is miserable looking back, right, then I'm doing something wrong. And then I always say also, I have this little theory. I'm kind of old school, right? Like I got this, if I get this bumblebee flying in my stomach where it's miserable, like, and just, oh God, I don't want to do that. That's like, why the hell am I doing it? My sister died and time's the most important thing. Why am I allowing this to creep in and control me? So then I just switch it. You know, first part of all transformation is awareness. Once you're aware, you can switch that fast. And so once I become aware of it, I'm like, oh, no, I'm controlling this.
Yeah.
I'm getting rid of this stuff that's making me unhappy.
Yeah, it's funny. I used to book things early in the morning, and then it was like,
why?
I hate doing things early in the morning. Like I watch these people like the 5 a.m. club. I'm like, I hate 5 a.m. You know what I want to do at 5 a.m.? Sleep.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't like that. I like starting my days around 10 a.m.
Yeah.
10 a.m.'s a good time for a first meeting of the day.
Well, that's what makes you happy.
You know, and that's exactly the way I do it. How do you see the relationship between failure or mistakes or failing and success?
So one of my best friends is Joe Theismann. Used to quarterback the Washington Redskins, NFL MVP. Joe actually got me into speaking like 25 years ago. I didn't even know about speaking. He taught me the speaking industry. And Joe said something to me years ago that always stuck with me. He says, you know, I asked him, how'd you deal with failures? I never had a failure in my life. I'm like, huh? He said, I've only had educational experiences that did not go my way at that time. I was like, oh, ding, ding, ding. I got it. So I look at failure as fertilizer, right? It could stink you up or it could make you grow, right? So the other thing, Brad, that I always look at failure as is it's just part of the process, right? Whatever I want to do, I've always encountered failure in the beginning. And I make this simple example. Think about the first time you tried to ride a bike. You failed.
Oh, yeah.
You wobbled. You fell off. First time you drove a car.
Didn't fail that bad on a car.
No, but you hit the curb or something, right? And you were scared. You were nervous.
Yeah.
So in essence, the way I look at it, if you look at timeline therapy, right? You jump back. Don't stay in it. You jump back and you look at it, right, realistically and say, you know, this is just the part of the process in the beginning. It's part of it. It's the growth, right? It's fertilizer. It's making me stronger. And so that's the way I look at the relationship between failure and success.
Why don't people want to be in that zone, though? Because that zone is what makes success.
Sure.
How do you get people into that zone? I know, you know, when I coach people, sometimes I just have to like push.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
I think the first part is awareness, right?
Yeah.
If you study anything, when we become aware that we could do it differently, then you could change that fast. But if you're not aware, you just keep doing the same old, right? The same old rut. Other thing is people are stuck in their old story. Like they like the victimhood because it's easy, right? People
always done it that way. But Brad, you don't understand.
Yeah.
My family, my city.
I came from this side of the tracks. And you know why people I've found in my years of helping people is why they do that is it's easy because they'll always it's like puppy dogs, right? Puppy dogs on a cold day, what do? They all go crowd in the corner and, oh yeah, it's cold and we don't like it. It's not, well, that's what happens, right? Oh, my life doesn't work. Oh yeah, my life doesn't work either. And you start getting
just
that.
also at a low level. That's at a 10 million, 100 million, you know, whatever level you get to, you get to your comfort ceiling, comfort, you know, goals as ceilings as well. I like using that, and I want to get on to marketing with you just for a moment. I like using marketing example of failure because 80% of marketing doesn't work. You know, it just doesn't. You go and throw out 10 ads, 8 of them get almost no result.
Yeah, but you're one step closer to finding the right way.
Correct. 2 out of 10 get some result, and then we move forward. You use a term boomerang in marketing. Explain that.
Yeah, so I believe that we don't throw anything out unless it's bringing us the right quality leads back, right? That's what I mean, boomerang. You throw a boomerang out, it comes back. So whatever you throw out comes back at you. So I'll give you an example of speaking. So in South Florida, where I also live, there's a life coaching group down the freeway 20 minutes that for 4 years they've been trying to get me to come speak. Right? And I said, well, how much does everybody pay to come to this monthly thing? And they said, nothing. I said, what's the yearly dues? They said, nothing. So there's strike one.
Yeah.
Right? Freebies. Right? People who pay attention, they're not paying anything. Right? Then I started looking at the back end. I said, we were talking about back end. What kind of back end can I get from this pond I'm going to fish in? Well, broke people. Right? Well, I don't really want to go there and boomerang those leads back.
Yeah.
Right? Because they can't afford a back end program. Right? So everything I do in marketing is boomeranging. Right? I went on the Secret Millionaire TV show, Blessed. ABC was going to put me on prime time, 8 o'clock Sunday night. And most people go thinking they're going to be the next Denzel Washington. This is my, right? My 15 minutes of fame. I'm going to make it. I looked at it as 15 minutes of opportunity from a business perspective.
Yeah.
I said, it's
a good ad.
It's a good ad. Yeah. I always say there's two sides to every, that's why my logo for Big Money Speaker is a coin.
Yeah.
On the one side, we got what we do to serve and help people. Most people stop there. And I said, no, there's a flip side. It's called the business of all this stuff. So if we look at the television show, that's a media. That's no different than running a classified ad, a Facebook ad, an Instagram. It's a way to, if you do it the right way, boomerang leads back. So I quickly realized this is 15 minutes of opportunity. And if I do it the right way, I can boomerang leads back. So I planted things in what I said. I sat there in my home office with flip charts, and I thought, okay, what could I say that would make a Brad Sugars see the trailer or see me on the show and say, who's this guy? I don't know, but I like what he said. Let me go Google him. Then I had like 30 different opt-in pages coming up where people would opt in. I'd pop up and say, hey, this is James Malinchak, featured on the new hit TV show, Secret Millionaire. If you want some free video training on how I grew my business that would help you, put your name and email in here.
Yeah.
And we added over like 300,000 some people.
Yeah.
And people say, well, what's the big deal about that? Well, they all spend $50 with you in a year. You just made 15 million bucks. Well, they spent 100. Brad, I still have a lot of those people who had no idea who I was on that show, but because I boomeranged, planted the seed to bring the right lead, not just any lead, the right lead, I still have people this day still buying from me.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by boomerang. Let's not put anything out. If you're going to do a talk, if you're going to do a media interview, right? If you're going to talk one-on-one with someone, you should be dropping those seeds that's going to bring that right person back. He or she raises their hand and said, I love ActionCOACH. I want to be a business coach.
I like that raise your hand term. That's a really good book.
I didn't see that. I love that.
Very handsome man wrote that book. Well,
I love that, man.
Josh is the handsome guy. I'm just the other guy.
I promise anybody watching or listening, I did not do that on purpose. I did not even know that was the title.
When I always talk about marketing as two hands raised. One, I'm interested. One, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Because you got to get them on the database. I'm interested.
Yeah.
And then you got to keep communicating to them. And it's interesting because the cadence used to be, when it was way back in the day, it was monthly letters. Then it went to weekly letters. Then email came around and you went to weekly, fax blasting, postcards. Nowadays, though, the cadence has gone to daily in email, and even more often if you're using texting with things, that the cadence just keeps getting faster and faster. Mm-hmm. And we've gone to this point where people are getting, it used to be there wasn't enough information. Now there's too much information. Let's look at conversion then, and how do we convert people in an age where there just is too much information, I guess? How do we break through and get conversion, the sale to actually happen today? Yeah, so the first thing I always try to share with people is most people are putting stuff out incorrectly. They're putting stuff out that they want to put out instead of sitting down and strategizing, right? Flip chart, whiteboard, whatever it is, right? Of, okay, if I were my ideal prospect and I see this ad, I see this email, what would it have to say to make me raise my hand and say, oh my God, Brad's speaking to me. I get it. And nobody does that. They don't write from that perspective. They write from, here's what people need. Well, how do you know what they need? Have you really sat in their shoes? When I create anything, I'd never create from James. Yeah.
I create from, okay, I'm the guy on, Instagram that saw video.
Yeah.
And is what Brad's saying on that video, if I'm writing one for you, is what he's saying, is that going to make me say, I want to learn more from him? If I get an email from you, is that going to make me say, like if you're running an event, is that going to make me say, I'm not kidding, this is how I think, oh my gosh, I have to go to Brad's event because it's speaking directly to me? Oh, wait a minute, I'm getting married that day? Okay, I better change the wedding date because I got to go. Like, right? That's how it should speak to me.
Yeah. I have two avatars I write to. One, his name is John. He's my older avatar, business owner, been running his business 20 years. So that avatar I have to write to. And then I have Abby, who's my younger avatar. She's just new in business. So every time I'm writing to those two avatars. I literally will sit down and plan, like even my emails, I'll plan 300 yearly emails at one sitting.
That's smart.
By sitting down and going through it. And these days, I use Brad GPT, like we've created the AI Brad, so it thinks like me and uses all my stuff, but it comes up with all of their problems. What are all of their issues?
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but why is it that marketers think more about their product or their thing than the problems? What happened? Where did that come about?
So I think it's old, outdated sales and marketing training that's been passed down. I'll give you an example. So a few years ago here in Vegas, I did a talk at, I think it was Bellagio, and I was on my way home. It was like 10:30, had nothing really to do. So I thought, you know what? I don't really need a car, but let me go kill some time and look at some cars, right? So go to a car dealership. And what happens, I start looking, what happens when you walk on a lot? The vultures come out.
The guy the next one up, next man down.
Yeah, exactly, right? And so young hotshot dude, 28, comes over-ish, 28-ish, and says, hey, bud, first of all, he called me bud, right? Hey, bud.
You look like a bud.
He says, hey, bud. And I listen like you. I listen to people's languaging, right? Hey, bud, you thinking about buying this car? I said, well, I'm just kind of, looking around. And what's the first thing he does, man? He pops open the hood and starts talking to me about the engine and the carburetor and the spark plug. And I'm like, I just let him go for a while. And then, like you, I love to be sold because I like to see what their skills are.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything. After about a minute and a half or whatever, I said, hey, excuse me. Would you step back for a second? I said, step back, and I shut the hood. I said, let me teach you how to sell me this car. I said, first of all, size me up. I'm in a pretty damn nice suit, costs about $4,000. I got shine shoes on. I got a white shirt, gold tie, and pretty decent watch. Does it even look like I know what the hell a spark plug is? Right? But you still shouldn't assume. You should say, sir, with this particular vehicle you're thinking of getting, what is most important for you?
Yeah.
Now, if I walk on the lot and I got a mechanic shirt, got some grease here, got my name here, right? Now, I probably am interested in the carburetor and the spark plugs, but you still shouldn't assume. If you were to ask me what's most important for me, I would tell you I want two things in this car I'm thinking about. I want to go fast and I want to look cool. Right? At that point, you ought to toss me the keys.
Yeah.
Say, take this puppy out on the 215.
Yeah, let's see how fast we can go.
Exactly. Put
let's
the top
see how
down.
cool we do look,
So I'd take it off the lot, and unbeknownst to me, you have a colleague of yours jump in a car and follow me. And I'm flying around.
Take a video of me.
Yeah, I'm flying on the 215. I get up to the stoplight. I'm going to turn and come back to the dealership. As I'm stopped there, this guy, unbeknownst to me, pulls up next to me, toots his horn and says, hey, bud, that car goes fast, and you look really cool. Brad, I wouldn't be able to get back there fast enough to write a check.
Yeah.
Why the hell is he selling me spark plugs? Because that's what he was taught to do, the features of it. I don't give a... How many times, you've got some great cars. How many times have you walked to get a car, went on a lot or through your broker and said, hey, I want to get this car because I need that carburetor that's in that car or the spark plug. But that's what salespeople, marketers do. They sell the thing instead of getting in the heart and the mind of the person who's buying.
Yeah. There's so much information. I think customers get into overload, and it's almost our job to take them out of that overload and put them back into, because how do people even know what's important to them, I guess, is probably the hardest part for a salesperson today.
Yeah. So I have this new formula that nobody's ever heard of that I created. It's called ASK.
Mm-hmm.
Ask.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, come on. Let's take somebody selling an online course.
Yeah.
You can set up SurveyMonkey. and just ask your ideal potential person, or go into a Facebook group.
Yeah.
Right. And just ask, hey, I'm doing some fact finding. If I were doing a course on time management or whatever the title is, what would be the 1, 2, or 3 most important things that you would need to see to want to get this course? And then you take all the data from the 27 people that answer and you look for patterns. Oh, these 4 things keep popping up. And this one pops up more than any, so maybe that ought to be my headline.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's how, right?
It blows my mind. We, because ActionCOACH is a franchise business. When people apply,
the best, by the way.
We ask them, it is one of the best for sure. We ask them, out of the things that you look for, there's 8 categories, and we give them a choice. What are there's 30 choices or 32 choices. What is most important to you in a career transition to owning your own business? And out of the 32, there is 4 that keep coming up regularly, sort of thing. So guess what all of the marketing then goes to be?
Every Facebook ad, every direct mail piece, every email keeps coming back to what your prospect wants.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think it's too easy. Like, and
if you listen, it's
if
easy.
you listen. And the other thing too, in school, I don't know how it was when you grew up, but I took a course on communication, right? How to talk. Took a course in college, how to talk. Never had a course offered on how to listen.
Yeah. My dad was the only one that taught me how to listen, because he talked a lot, and he won't mind me saying that either. But he was like, 2 ears, 1 mouth. Shut up.
My dad said the same thing. He used to always say that to me.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you this about my dad. My dad, we grew up in a very tiny steel town, about 6,000 people. My dad was a steel worker. My dad went on to become one of the top 6 college football officials in the country. Okay, he even did the Orange Bowl game for the national championship, right? And I would always ask Dad, how you're this little guy from this town, how? And he goes, I always remember, 2 ears, 1 mouth should be used in that proportion. I keep my mouth shut. I don't speak out. I don't say. I listen to people. I listen to our commissioner. What is he looking for in a field judge when refereeing these big games? And then I work on those things to become that guy he wants.
Yeah.
I thought, oh my God, that's so easy.
So let's talk about, you and I have shared stages. Actually, who's the favorite guy or gal you've shared stages with? Give me a couple of your favorites you've shared stages with.
Anthony Hopkins, Sir Anthony Hopkins.
Sir Anthony Hopkins. I've got a few of his paintings at home, but I've never shared a stage with him.
One of the, I gotta tell you this. This is why. I just love his thought process. So I literally was on stage with him at one point. I got to interview him. And I said, Mr. Hopkins, you are Academy Award-winning actor, Anthony Hopkins, one of the greatest top 50 actors in the world of all time, stage and movies. You're knighted. You're Sir Anthony Hopkins. And Brad, I asked him like the dumbest question I ever asked. Here's what I asked. I said, you don't still have an acting coach, right? I mean, look at that assumption I had.
Yeah.
Right? Here's this great guy. And
I bet he said yes. Like, I'm guaranteed.
Oh, no. He blew my mind. He said, oh, no, James, I have 7.
7.
I didn't know what to say. I about fell off my stool. I said, I'm sorry. He dumbfounded me. I was stumped. I said, wait, what? What do you mean? He said, well, I have a movement coach for theater because you move differently in live theater with an audience than you do for movies. I have a movement coach for movies. I have a tonality coach for movies because you speak differently with a boom mic above you. And I have a different tonality coach for theater. I have a nutritionalist because at my age, I got to be healthy. We could be filming until 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
And it could, like Thor, when they did the movie Thor years ago, he said, we had a $200 million budget. If I get sick, I put all these people out of work. And the studio loses $200 million. And he kept going through. I have a personal trainer. And Brad, I sat there, and then when he finished, I said to the audience, I said, are you all catching this? There are people here in this audience that won't invest $10 in a book to be better. Mr. Hopkins has 7 coaches. A guy put his hand up and said, oh, well, he's Academy Award-winning actor, therefore Anthony Hopkins, therefore he can have 7 coaches. I said, oh, no, my brother. You got it wrong. It's because he has 7 coaches that he is Academy Award-winning actor.
Yeah.
So Anthony's one of my favorites because of his psychology, the way he thinks about life. You would love him because you think the
I
same
got
way.
to meet him. He signed paintings.
He's
for me.
amazing.
He's a phenomenal guy.
But, you know, I'm blessed to be on a program with Michael Jordan. You know who I like to be on programs with? My favorites are people who epitomize excellence in their profession.
Yeah.
And there's nobody better than Michael Jordan, and for basketball, there's nobody better for Anthony Hopkins for acting, because I love to see the discipline and the commitment.
I love it when guys and gals who are great in the green room, if they're great in the green room, I like them. And then you get the other ones who, and we could share war stories of the guys and the gals, mostly guys who are assholes in the green room. And it's like, and then they always run over time. That guy always runs over time on stage. They never professional finish. Speaking of professionals as speaking, okay, you said you got turned on to it by Joe.
Yeah.
You've taught now thousands of people how to speak and make money out of speaking. Let's forget the money side of it. We'll get to that in just a minute.
Mm-hmm.
What makes someone a powerful speaker, a powerful presence on stage?
You know, it's a couple things. One, I don't think people want to see heroes and legends up there. I think who they want to see is average, normal, everyday people who made it, could have rose to a certain status, but they're normal, average people who went through the same struggles that you and I sitting in an audience went through. When I heard Anthony Hopkins talk about how he made no money starting out, but yet he was committed and disciplined, and how he sacrificed fun things so that he could get into his craft of acting, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what I go through every day in business. That's what I'm going through, the same sort of path, just at a different level, right? So I think the first part is be yourself. You spent your whole life being yourself. Why would you want to change on stage and become theatrical or become above the audience? I'm about like connecting with the audience. I have a new book coming out. It's called Connect to Collect. When you connect, and it's all these ways you connect with people and audiences. So one is be yourself, right? Number 2, it comes back to what we talked about with marketing, right? When I put a presentation together, it could be an inspirational talk for an organization, could be a converting talk, whatever that is, could be for kids. I sit there and I think, what does this kid need to hear to inspire and empower his heart, mind, soul, and spirit to overcome challenges and be better? That's my whole thing. I want people to overcome challenges and be better. I'm going to speak for a sales group. Okay, what are these salespeople going through? And how do I speak to where they're at and the aspirations of where they want to be? And the stories I want to tell should match those. I want somebody to say, dude, I felt like you were just talking to me. That's my essence of a great connecting message. Even in emails or anything, if someone's not saying, Brad, you were talking to me. Even though Brad's talking to 5,000 people, somebody comes up, dude, you were talking to me.
I had that a couple of days ago. Like, it just happens. And I think naturally as an Australian, we're a little bit self-deprecating in that we're happy to tell our stories of failure a little bit more, and the stories of where we messed up a little bit more. And
remember, we connect through our messes, not the successes, right? And you'll see some people that come out on stage and they go, hey, look how great I am, and I did this, and I did this, and I never failed. And you're sitting there going, bullshit. Like the guy never failed, the lady never failed, right? And you're not connecting on a deep subconscious level, because the way they're delivering or presenting, and it could be one-on-one, the person's not saying, oh man, she's talking to me. She understands where I'm at. I always say, don't get up there and talk about where you're at. Get up there and aspire them where they could be. Right?
How do you tell a great story then?
I think it's really just 3 things. I think it's mess, turning point, success, or in the infomercial business, before, turning point, and the turning point was always the product, and then after. Right? And I did it on Secret Millionaire. When they came and filmed my bio, I don't know, we filmed for 5-6 hours in my house. I sat down and I wrote, okay, what are all the befores? I wrote bullet points, 30 of them, right? What are some things that were the turning points? But I thought about, if someone's watching this show, what are these befores that would make me connect, right? And then what are the afters? Well, the afters that I said were the person watching might want to be. right? And it wasn't like, oh, you could be a speaker on stage and all that. It was, you could achieve goals in your life. You could get through tough times.
Yeah.
Right? And so to me, it's a very simple formula. And this is the way I think people should always tell their story. It's before or struggle, turning point, and after or success.
I like the word mess. I do like the word mess.
Turn your mess into your success and have a turning point. By the way, it's the key when you're selling product too in a sales presentation.
Well, for us, it's business was a mess. Yeah. Turning point is a coach.
Bingo.
Success 1,000%. Is business works without them, or they work less, all of that sort of stuff. We see that all the time. So then let's flip it then to big money speaker. Speaking for money, let's do it both ways. Actually someone hiring you to speak for money, and then the second is actually selling from stage, because I think people want to be able to do both of those things.
And they should.
Because selling to a group is one thing, but actually having people pay you to come speak and deliver your message. Let's touch on that one first.
Well, hey there, and thanks for listening. I've noticed that 78% of you are brand new, which means you haven't hit the subscribe button yet. By subscribing, you help us bring on even better guests, better quality content, and serve you better with even more podcasts. So please hit that subscribe button. It only takes a second. It makes a huge difference. If you support us, we're going to support your success and help you achieve big success together.
So when it comes to paid speaking and fee paid speaking, here's one of the biggest problems most people have. They say, I'm going to talk on XYZ topic. And I said, well, how do you know if the event coordinator even cares about that? Right? Like there's all these people that, here's the way I look at speaking. Okay, you got to divide it down the middle and put a line in it. On this side, you have public events, entrepreneur events, right? Events you see in social media, right? And then over here, you have three fee-paid markets. You have corporations and associations, you have colleges and universities, and you have K through 12 and the education market. Those are the three main. There's some sub-markets, faith-based, nonprofit, but those are the main three, right? So let's take like a law of attraction, which people would see over here. At your own event, you can do whatever you want, man. You can have strobe lights spinning around. You can turn the lights down, all saying whatever you want to do, right? You can't bring that into a corporation.
Yeah.
Right? You can't bring an esoteric type topic like that into a company who has shareholders, board of directors, different spiritual beliefs, different ethnic backgrounds, right? So the big mistake most people make when they say they want to do fee-paid speaking is they create a topic, they blanket it and say, I'm going to talk to everybody on that. And I'm like, okay, well, see, let me put it this way. When I go to entrepreneur events, I have a different fee-paid talk that matches what they want. And then when I go to a corporation, I've got a different one. When I go to a college and university, I got a different one. When I speak for kids, I got a different one because I'm matching, this is the key, what the event coordinator wants. Every event coordinator has an outcome they want for their audience, right? So if I say, I'm going to speak on law of attraction and I want you to book me for your corporation, they're going to say, not a good match, right? I actually had this with our mutual friend, Jack Canfield, when The Secret came out, right? And the law of attraction was real big. Well, it was big here. It wasn't big over on this side of fee-paid speaking, right? Speaking on the law of attraction over here would never get him booked. But if we repackage it, the success principles, how to go from where you are to where you want to be, and one of the principles is not law of attraction, but we change the languaging, like attracts like, you become who you associate with. Now he gets booked. But if you're trying to push like a topic that the event coordinator doesn't want the outcome for their people, it's going to be like if I was speaking on you should be an entrepreneur and start your own business, what company is going to bring me in? Right? Like I'm telling everybody to
network marketing companies only.
Yeah.
You know, maybe some insurance companies, you know, but that's about it. And you know, ultimately thinking of your target audience is the biggest thing.
The other thing
rather than the topic. It's target audience, not topic.
Yes. And the thing too about fee-paid speaking is most people don't understand this. You have two customers. You have two clients. And the most important one is the event coordinator. Yeah. That's your first customer. What does he or she want as the outcome for this type of presentation for this 45-minute slot, this 90-minute slot? Then when you show up and speak, you have a second customer. You better be delivering right? To empower and inspire them to give that audience that direction that that event coordinator, the first customer, wants. Most people don't understand when they create talks. They just say, I'm going to talk on this. You don't even know if the market cares about it.
Yeah, and that event coordinator better get a lot of kudos for, oh, thank God you brought James in. It's so good that, you know, I know when I've done a good job when the event coordinator says, everyone thank me for bringing you in.
Exactly.
Excellent. I know I'll get invited back, sort of thing, you know.
Can I give like a little ninja tip for anybody watching? So I've done this for 20 years. These are kind of like the big money speaker secrets. I make the event coordinator my salesperson. And you know how I do that? Say, hey, like you were the event, Brad, thank you so much for bringing me in. I hope I delivered what you wanted. Oh man, that was great. I said, you know what? You've been so great. Can I film a video testimonial for you that you could show to other companies and allow me to help sell you why they should hire you as their event coordinator? Would that be helpful for you? What? You know how many talks I have gotten?
Because
from one event coordinator, 20 plus talks from one event coordinator, because I'm thinking like him or her. How could I serve him or her? How could I? Prime example is why I brought this. Most people look at business like this and they become a taker. And you know why? Because we get a bib placed under our chin when we're born and we come into this world. So that gets embedded in our subconscious mind. And we go through life thinking, oh, it's about me. And what can I get from people? And what I always say, if you really want to get in with folks, you have to consciously take the bib from your neck, put it over your arm like you are a server in the finest dining establishment, and approach people with, how can I help this person? So the event coordinator, right? I don't say, hey, Brad, could you book me for other talks? I think, what could serve him or her? So in this case, Brad, could I film a video for you that would be helpful? Would you like to give my phone number or email to any prospective other client and have them call me and I'll tell them how amazing you are and how it made everything smooth for me?
Yeah, and the tech guys, like anyone that's running the event, you know, at the hotel coordinator. It's amazing how you do that, especially because we live here in Vegas. The hotel coordinators, you get gigs from them because they're the ones recommending. Everyone calls them. You know anyone that we could get to speak? Oh, I got the, you know.
Can I go one other like little bonus?
Yeah, 100%. Then we'll flip it over to the other way of making money.
Let's take the event coordinator, right? So I do the video and they're like, no one's ever done that. No speaker's ever done that. They're like almost in tears because I really, now if they weren't good, I wouldn't do that, right? But they're blown away. They're like, I can't believe you did that for me. Thank you. And no one's ever done something like to help them, right? And showcase them, right? And then I say this, I said, Brad, you probably have other events, other companies and organizations that you run events for, right? Oh yeah, I'm an independent. I do 60 different events. I said, well, I'm different than all other speakers. I said, if there's ever a company or an event you think I'm a good fit for, and you book me for that event, I'll pay you a 20% referral commission back. That's what I'd pay to a speakers bureau anyway, right? And they're like, what? I said, yeah. I said, well, my fee's 40 grand. So 20% of that, you're going to make $8,000 just for the referral. They're like, are you serious? Now, it comes down to the person paying them a 20% referral fee and someone else, who are they going to pick?
Yeah.
So I turn them into my salespeople. So just a little ninja tip for fee paid speaking.
Love it. Love it. Let's flip it over then. Selling to groups, selling from stage, and you could be selling to a group of 10, selling to a group of 10,000. Some of the James Malinchak big money speaker tips, the ninja tips.
The ninja, the up the stairs, around the corner, in the sock drawer technique.
That's the one.
So a couple things I always say is there are 3 things an audience must conclude in their mind when you're presenting a speak and offer. I don't even like to say speak and sell because I like to speak and empower and give people good information and then make them a great offer so they could go deeper. It's a different mindset when you take the stage versus I'm here to sell people, right? Do we want them to buy? Yeah, but we could reframe how we look at it, okay? 3 things an audience must conclude or they will not move forward. And it's based on, you can't tell them this, it's based on how you present. Number 1, they have to say, oh, I could do this. I can do what Brad's teaching. I really can. I can do this, right? No matter where they are, what their background is, I can do this. Number 2, I can do this right now. I don't have to wait 8 months to get started. Like, oh my gosh, the way he teaches it, I can start implementing this right away. And then number 3, I can do this right here, meaning wherever I am in my life. I live on a farm in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I live in a high-rise in Sydney. I'm married, not married. Kids, no kids. Right-handed, left-handed, meaning I don't have to make drastic change to implement, because change in the mind, if you study our subconscious mind, neuroscience and brain-based learning, change equals work.
Yeah.
Right? And the minute you equate your program that you're going to offer to work, to change, is the minute they say, I don't have time for this. Right? I'm busy. I got kids. I got this. So I'll give you a real example. I was speaking at the Hotel Roosevelt down in Hollywood. There were 2 of us speaking and selling a speaker, offering a speaker program. The other was
Oh, really?
The other was a legend. I'm not going to say the name. I love and adore him. Now, here's my little ninja trick. Whenever there's 2 people there offering the same topic and same program, I always go second, because I want to see what he or she does. Now I know how to adapt mine to make mine different, so that an audience member says, instead of saying, which one should I take, and them taking the legend, oh, these are different. I need both. Right? It's tiny little, subtle little adjustment. So the person is up on stage and says this. Listen to the languaging. I do not believe you deserve the right to be paid to speak until you have done at least 1,000 talks for free. I said, oh my gosh, I got it. This is easy. Because here's what happens in the mind.
I can start you making money tomorrow.
Well, think about what the prospect says. Well, if I have to do 1,000, and it's the gospel, right? Because it's coming from the legend. If I do 100 free every year, that's 10 years before I deserve the right to be paid to speak. I can't do that.
Yeah.
I can't do that right now.
Yeah.
And I can't do that here in my life. I have kids. I've got this. I got that. They don't buy the program. So I go into my PowerPoint slides and I start changing everything to show speed. I start dropping in testimonials of people at my live event saying, hey, it's 2 hours into the 4-day event. We're on the first break. I've never done a talk before in my life. I did exactly what James said with that script. I went out and I called this group I was going to speak for free. I just got my first $5,000 gig. We're only 2.5 hours into this. I just started showing speed. 80% of the audience enrolled. And I hate to say this because I love the legend. I checked with the event coordinator. No one.
But he set you up.
But he didn't even know what
Probably bet. It's like the car dealerships with 5 car dealerships down the road. If you're the best car dealership, you can make the sales.
And the bad part, them speaking 40 years and didn't even know that he was speaking language that was telling people.
Killing his own sales.
So just
I can do it. I can do it now. I can do it
right here. So every presentation I do, I go through every slide, every picture, every image. If it's not conveying that, every story, if it's not conveying that, I either have to adjust it, change it, or get it out of there, right? Now, will they need in-depth training? Yeah, but that's what the training's for. That's what the course is for. So that's the first mistake. And part 2 of that is 60-minute talk, 70-minute talk. People try to cram the training into the 60 minutes. And you overwhelm people. And when you overwhelm people and they feel like it's work, they don't make a decision.
Yeah, I remember when I was first selling from stage, and we used to just use a single sheet of paper for the sign-up thing, right? And then one of my team had a brainwave. We should give them an 8-page brochure so they know exactly what they're getting. So we put an 8-page brochure on the chairs. We made no sales. And I'm like, back to the 1-page form. You know, because they knew they could make a decision.
About the biggest thing that I share when I'm, say, the big money speaker, I give a 1-page enrollment form. By the way, the other thing too is the languaging. Don't call it an order form. Order form means I'm spending money. An enrollment form. Right? Just minor little changes, right? By the way, you don't say words like buy, order, cost, price, sell, purchase. Those are subconscious negative triggers that says I'm paying money. You say, let me tell you how great this is going to be for you when you join our family. Let me tell you how this is going to enrich your life.
Invest.
So minor little changes like that people don't think about. Brad, you're the same way because you're amazing and master at this. But like, I can listen and watch somebody for 10 minutes on stage, and I go, no one's buying from her. Look at the language they're using, right? They're using what I call heavy words. We're gonna roll up the sleeves and get to work. They're heavy words that makes the subconscious mind go, oh my gosh, this is work. Painful.
Yeah, this is hard.
Yeah. Or like, you're going to come to our school. Well, what does that equate?
Yeah.
Like, I don't like school. I didn't like school.
Yeah.
Right?
Even our stuff, we call them playbooks.
There you go.
You know, there's no workbook. Yeah. There's a playbook.
Oh, exactly. Don't use the word work.
Yeah.
Playbook, action guide. That's why ActionCOACH is so brilliant.
Yeah, it's a guide.
Coach. And I always say this too. I'll give one other ninja tip. So for 20 some years, I've studied neuroscience and brain-based learning. Why do we do things? Why is our brain? Why do we buy? Why do we not buy? Why do we resist? Why do we attract? And one of the things I found that's huge, and I don't see a lot of people doing this, is certainty. The subconscious hates uncertainty and craves and attracts towards certainty. Simple example. You'll hear people say, I'm going to show you how to sell real estate. Uncertainty. I'm going to show you 3 specific, listen to languaging, 3 specific keys that you could do that will unlock unlimited prospects for your real estate. 3, certainty. How to, uncertainty.
22 immutable laws of marketing. Law of specificity. It's got to be there. Hey, we could do this for days. Got to finish up though. I always ask one last question. Best advice you ever got on the subject of success, or even the best quote you ever heard on the subject of success?
Wow, there's so many. The best, man. I would say it would be this, and it was from my father, because it goes back to when he was refereeing football and achieved this. And I'm like, Dad, how do you do this? So he told me about the 2 ears and 1 mouth, but he also said, son, you can do, and this is a guy that didn't have a college education, he's a steel worker. Son, you can do whatever you want in this life if you believe in yourself and you don't listen to people who talk negatively about you and tell you can't do it. Stay away from those people. Get around people who believe in you, people who uplift you, because those people talking trash and telling you can't do something, they're not your true friends. They're trying to keep you where they are, not because they're bad people, but because they suffer from a bad disease called possibility blindness. They can't see what's possible. So son, you can do whatever you want if you believe in yourself and you stay away from the people who tell you can't do it. I don't listen to the people in the local bar here who say, well, who do you think you are and how do you think you're going to do that? I stay away from them. I stay around the football officials who are doing it, and they pull me up to their level just by being around them.
Big Success Podcast. We'll be back next week with more of your success. But hit the show notes, James Malinchak. Watch, learn, study, read, do all the things. That's how success happens.
You've been listening to the Big Success Podcast with the #1 business coach in the world, Bradsugars. To learn more about how to achieve business and personal success, as well as how to level up or listen to past episodes, visit www.bradsugars.com.